Join us and the rest of the ASOTU More Than Cars crew for ASOTU's NADA Show Sessions, a podcast live from all the action.
We're bringing the best conversations straight to you. Oh man, Jamie, it's so good to be here at the Cars Commerce booth, this monstrosity. Thanks for joining us.
Welcome to the booth. Yeah, good to see you again. Been a while.
And we've had a lot of great conversations over the years about reputation, about how dealers care for their customers, and you're constantly on the forefront of like, what's the customer thinking about? What's the dealer thinking about? What's the focus right now? What should we be paying attention to when it comes to what customers are asking for and what dealers need to pivot to?
Well, first of all, shoppers still have major trust issues with automotive, right? And it's been that way for years. It's not getting any better. We like to think that we're putting a little bit of a dent in the world of trust and transparency.
Right.
But shoppers still care about communication. They care about price transparency. And they want dealers just to pay attention, right? We find that the most important thing that dealers can do, like literally back to basics, is just pay attention. Consumers are talking about you, and if you're not paying attention, then you're missing the opportunity to communicate with customers. So having that communication, make sure it's two-way, you're not just sort of reading what customers have said, but you're having that communication. And most importantly, that if something went wrong, that you're make an effort to make it right.
Yeah,
so many dealers don't.
I think every relationship psychologist out there is like, there's two things that ruin relationships. One is communication, and two is money, or the communication about money, right?
Absolutely.
And that's true in auto too.
Automotive is communication and money, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a huge, huge purchase, and so, I think we Cars Commerce, it's all about transparency and making sure that the shoppers that come to our platform are matched with the right dealers, right? So as we think about collecting content and engaging with dealers to make sure that they follow best practices to get content on the site, now dealers have an opportunity to really differentiate themselves in their local market. Again, the dealers that aren't paying attention or think that they've got it all figured out will find that on platforms like Cars and others, if they've got a 3-star rating, we're not going to send customers necessarily to go do business with you because that reflects poorly on the marketplace. So we want to make sure that we're empowering dealers to put their best foot forward, collect the feedback, show up the way that they believe they deserve to show up on our platform, and get the leads that they deserve, and sell cars, right?
What's the stat again? The percentage of reviews on the DealerRater platform that are positive, or that have positive intent?
Yeah, so we're about 85% or so of reviews on the DealerRater platform are positive, and we're sort of talking kind of Cars Commerce wide, right? So Cars and DealerRater. So it's still largely positive, but
I think what's interesting to me is that stories are important to just the human condition, right?
Yeah.
So the story of someone doing business in auto is really important. And I think what's interesting is we, as an industry, have been led by a story that's been customer driven, but the customers that more often tell stories, that tell the broad stories or that hit the news, are the ones that had the bad experience because they enraged and they want to get out there and tell. And yet 85% of the customers are saying, no, I had a great experience. I think what we can really focus on as an industry really is, how do we get more of the customers that are having the great experiences to tell those stories, whether it be in service or in sales? What tactics or practical things are you seeing that dealers are deploying that allow them to get more of those stories from the customers that love this?
It's as literally as simple as you just have to ask. And so many dealers don't ask. They let happy shoppers, happy customers walk out the door, roll off the lot, without any inkling that the dealer would like to have feedback from that experience. So engage your salespeople in the process, right? Make sure that your salespeople understand it's important not only to build your own brand, but to collect feedback from the dealership. So engage them in the process, saying, hey, in a couple days or tomorrow you're going to get an invite from us to share feedback. It really means a lot to us. Share your honest feedback, etc. So engaging in this, with your staff that way, and then if you can automate the process so everyone gets an invite, then you're going to get mostly good. You might get some bad, but that's all part of a healthy business. And so, look, these are local retailers, and we know that they're largely good actors. They're good people. They just want to sell cars and sell them profitably. And so the feedback collection, it's a virtuous cycle. If you do it well, if you build that culture of just always asking and then making sure that when that feedback comes in, you celebrate the people who did a good job, they're going to go ask for feedback from the next customer who walks in. So it's really important to build that cycle, engage your people, but always make sure you're asking for the feedback.
I mean, when I look at reviews, I think I actually look for some negative reviews, personally, right? I look for those because it says that the business has some level of like reality baked in, right? Where we're in the human condition, we mess up, right?
Yep.
But I always look for what dealers do with those reviews. Right?
Yeah.
What, or not even dealers, like a restaurant, a hotel. What do they do with that review?
Yeah.
So I think when negative reviews happen, what's the course of action? What are the great things that can come out of that?
First of all, make sure that you're reading the negative reviews. A lot of dealers get a negative review and say, it's a misunderstanding, didn't happen, wasn't us, wrong dealership. Dealers that truly want to improve their processes, which is luckily most dealerships.
Sure.
So three things that we tell dealers to do. One is just acknowledge that there was a bad experience, right? So many dealers will refuse to acknowledge that it's their problem and that it was even their dealership. Second is just to apologize, right? It's a simple thing, but we're humans, and apologizing for something that went wrong means a lot to consumers.
Yeah.
And then finally, act, right? So what are you going to do about it? So yes, I noticed there's a bad experience. We're sorry that it happened. This is the reason for the misunderstanding, or this is what happened. And as a result of that, we want to offer you to come back so you can do this or that, and this is how we're going to make it right. Dealers that do that consistently not only improve their processes, but they earn more customers.
Yeah.
And it might seem counterintuitive to a dealer that wants to ignore negative reviews, but if you have negative reviews that you handle the right way, and then you respond publicly to say, hey, this is what we've done, that's more impactful than 20 positive reviews.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the best thing a dealer can do, is just acknowledge that it happened, apologize, and then take action.
You got the triple A's of handling negative reviews.
Restaurant business, that's like, you ask any, successful restaurateur, that's the 3 A's. In restaurants, it's just as applicable in automotive.
I love it. Yeah. So what's coming down the pipe for you and the DealerRater crew? Like obviously you're constantly challenging the convention.
There's a lot going on. Yeah. I mean, so we collected 1.3 million reviews in 2024, which is a lot of content. So I think you're going to see on the cars.com marketplace reputation become a bit more kind of front and center, leveraged more to kind of curate the dealership or curate the customer experience, leveraging dealer content, bringing salespeople more front and center as well. I think there's really a lot to be said for the power of not just selecting the dealership you want to work with, but also the person. Yeah. And you live this back in your dealer days, right?
We did it, and I always say the single greatest value proposition of the automotive retail industry is its people, right? Yep. And so if people can be connected with people, that is really meaningful.
Yeah,
right?
And we've seen in the numbers, it's not just like you don't just say it and it's true. People who connect with people, the lead to close rate is twice that if you don't create that connection. So if I'm comfortable with you and I want to work with you, I'm 2 times more likely to close when I walk into your dealership, right? So we're going to elevate the humans on cars.com, make sure that that's more front and center, bring reputation more front and center, make sure that we're rewarding those dealerships that do it right, with more leads, and not just more leads, but higher quality leads.
That's cool. That's awesome. Well, Jamie, it's always fun talking to you. You've got, I love the triple A's. Like that's something that anybody listening to this can take away.
It's an easy mental model.
Acknowledge, apologize, act, and those negative reviews can turn into gold. So,
100%.
Awesome. Thanks, Jamie.
See you too.